Hello guys, so what I thought I'd do, I thought we'd have a look at the new mock-up of the Glass Mountains web design, which we're working on. And I'll explain some of the rationale about why we've made those decisions and explore them a little. So I think a good place to start probably is looking at the existing homepage. If I switch over using the magic technology to a different scene, yeah, there we are. Now, this website, we rebranded about 5 years ago to Glass Mountains. Just good point to recap, I suppose. The idea of Glass Mountains is that for many people, websites and digital is a big, huge challenge, a mountain of a challenge. And a core principle of what we try and do here at Glass Mountains is to cut through the jargon, to cut through any kind of technical mumbo jumbo, because I know it can be daunting. There's so much technology and acronyms, and it changes all the time. Our role is to help explain all of those terms to people, to busy business people who've got enough going on in their lives without having to learn this tech. Explain it in clear, simple, transparent terms. That's where the glass comes from, Glass Mountains. There we go. There's the story of why the name is there. So then we launched the new website, and it hasn't changed that much actually. I looked on the Internet Archive Wayback Machine, and I can see we had a holding page up in 2015, but we actually went live, I'm guessing it was the start of January 2016. So, it's not shy of, 5 years ago. And you can see from the archived version of the homepage, it's not radically different from it is now. We had a different picture of a mountain. We had different services and stuff there. And that's changed a bit. And obviously we really reinforced the whole mountain imagery when we launched, because it was a neat brand and you had to sort of explain the story a bit. And that's kind of how it stayed. We have changed a few little things, like now we promote online webinars. We used to promote something else in that area. How we can help, we've got a load of key services there, and our selected work. Now, in all honesty, 5 years is a long time for a website. Now, admittedly, with us, we have pretty much changed this a lot over that period of time. We've obviously got the skills in how to do that, so it's much more straightforward. However, I am aware that it has taken a while to really come to terms with redeveloping it. Now, it is one of those cobbler's kids situations, really, because it's hard for web design companies to look after their own websites. It's easier for me to speak to you, to speak to other people, and understanding, okay, what are your products and services? Who are your audience? How has your market changed? Why do people buy from you? What is the buy? Now, all of those kind of questions we use to unpack people's marketplace and positioning and messaging, so we can craft a digital solution online so that people, they land on the website and they go, wow, this is for me, this resonates with me, I'm impressed by this company, I'm ready to take the next step. So that process is a lot more straightforward when you're doing it for somebody else. When you've got to ask yourself the same questions, and it kind of makes you a bit schizophrenic, because I don't know, my brain is trying to pull in two directions. So what happens, of course, is that you end up kind of long grassing the situation, letting it mothball a bit, and you tinker around and you do changes where you can. As a side note, this does explain why some agencies, they actually will get another outside agency to do their website, simply because they know it's hard for them to do it themselves. Now, they might not shout about that, because of course people would assume you do your own website, but hopefully based on what I've just said, then you can understand why some companies would want to do that. Some agencies would want to do that. They get that external input. No, this is all our own work. It's not that's not a route which I considered, but hopefully you can explain that. You can understand that. Okie dokie. So now, I got tired of seeing the old homepage. I'd be mindful as well that now I'm tired of seeing it because I see it a lot. That doesn't mean other people out there are tired of seeing it. So don't get lulled into thinking you have to change the homepage because it looks the same to you, because most people, they're not looking at it with those same eyes. My perspective is more about, I don't really think we offer some of these services. If we look at conversion rate optimization, that's really a niche service in its own. We do strong elements of that, but I wouldn't say that's how our main heavy hitter. Analytics, look, we do some elements of that, and we've got some really good Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager guys on board. But I wouldn't say that's what I want to position as an analytics company. Integration and automation, again, we've done a lot with Infusionsoft, we've done a lot with Active Campaign, but it's not bread and butter work, it's extras we can do. So is it something which needs to be there on the front stall in the shop window of our website? I always try to go back to that Harvard Business Study where, I'm probably completely bastardizing it here, but I think there were two stalls. There was one selling 30 types of jam, and there was another selling 3 types of jam. And of course, the 3 types of jam were part of the 30 as well. Well, which stall sold more jam? Well, the one with 3, because sometimes people don't want choice, and sometimes there's the thing as too much choice. So I am mindful of that. So I have been. One of the key things was to focus back on WordPress and focus back on those core tasks. And it's funny, I hadn't realized this till I started recording this, but if I go back to the Wayback Machine, we did focus down on 3 services there, which I think was a better number. So at some stage we went a bad route here. I can understand why we did it, but no, I'm not happy with that. Anyway, time for a change. So we've gone through a few iterations of a new homepage design, and I just want to talk you through that now. So if I flick over, this is just a static mock-up, so it's not a website yet. Let me have a glug of coffee. Okay. Right. So again, clean and simple. That's pretty much a hallmark of our design. We don't like too much showy stuff. We don't like too many things whizzing around the page unless there's a real pressing reason for it. So it's simple messaging, simple user experience for people to sort of get to where they need to go to and to take actions. So looking on the website now, position ourselves, we are your WordPress experts. WordPress is our main service. The truth is that we do some other technologies, but I don't want to shout about that. I can introduce those into the conversation where needed. There's enough WordPress work out there for us just to focus on that. I'm more comfortable in front of the camera now than I was 5 years ago. Look, I'm not a natural, I'm not going to be on television, but I am very mindful of the fact that people buy from people, and I'm very mindful of the fact that I'm integral to the company. We do a lot more on Facebook now with Facebook Live events. We've got a Facebook Live event today at 2 o'clock. So yes, so that element needs to be brought out into the website because they all need to be congruent. They all need to tie together. The experience that people feel in the Facebook group or on Facebook Live needs to be the experience which marries on the website or on LinkedIn, because then everything is pointing in the right direction. So key here is to bring out a video. Oh yeah, okay, right. So there's a side story here. You might recognise some of these faces. There's Noel Edmonds, there's Nigel Mansell, and there's Mike Reed. Bless him, he's gone now. EastEnders, pat, Ricky. Yeah, that was just Tim. That is actually Tim, the lead designer, just having a laugh because we were mulling and we were thinking about how do we bring out the team here. Right, there's a side story to this. So my company is all distributed and remote, and we've been operating in that way for years. Tim there, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Tim there, he lives on the left. He lives in North Wales. Ben, one of the lead developers, lives in Bath. Simon, another developer, lives in Twickenham, I believe. I've never met him. He's worked with us for ages. Stu, one of our Google Analytics GTM guys, works down in Worthing. Kieran, an Irish designer, lives over in Berlin, and never met Kieran either. So all of these people are digitally remote and they're distributed, and we use all our clever apps like we've been using Zoom for years to bind us all together. And now, again, this is a bit of a side story, I suppose. Now, for years, you almost feel like you're half a company there because people expect you to have a polished office and all that stuff. But I decided years ago I didn't want that. I mean, offices were expensive, but the people I wanted to work with were all dotted around all over the place. So we've been this remote, agile, distributed workforce company for years. So indeed, you know, come lockdown and COVID, it doesn't make any difference to how we work. And a lot of our clients are in the States, so you know, they're used to us remote working. So the point of that little rant, if you want to call it a rant, was that I am mindful about not presenting something on the homepage which makes us look like we're just another studio with an office with shiny glass and all that stuff, because we're not that, and I don't want to be that. And I don't want to be presenting something to the world where I feel like this is what I need to present myself. Whereas no, I've got no qualms with how my company operates. I got no qualms with the fact that my team aren't full-time. They are all independent free freelancers. And some people think that's a negative as well, because they think, oh, so you haven't got full-time staff. I try and counter with, the people I work with, they will not be full-time anywhere. They are experts in their field, and I am lucky to work with them. And we found a really good working relationship, so I've got a fantastic hand-picked team. So yeah, so as you can imagine, there's a lot to unpack there, and I'm mindful about not presenting that. So we did mull around with bits where people were going to be in bubbles, which might reflect the distributed net-like nature of it. So I'm still not 100%, if I can even say it, 100% convinced about what to do there. But it may well be that we bring it together. Key, obviously, sadly, is because, look, I've got the same shirt on. I didn't actually do that on purpose. And I have got multiple shirts. By hook or by crook, I ended up wearing my lovely collection of Hawaiian shirts whenever we do a Facebook Live event. So it's turned into a mini thing. In a terrible world, you would call that personal branding. I just want to call it me wearing my Hawaiian shirts when I'm in front of the camera. So that is bringing it out onto the homepage. So, you know, I'll be there, click a video, I'll be there introducing the company and what we do, and we're going to have some reflection of the team behind without Noel, without Nigel, and without Mike Reed. Thank you, Tim. Strong introductory text, links going off to the key areas. Oh, a lot of the text isn't set in stone, it's all placeholder, so I wouldn't analyse that too much. Now we lead into the key services again. Again, the irony being this is a bit similar to what we did 6 years ago. We're whittling it down to about 3. Again, I think this makes sense. We do WordPress web design projects. We do ongoing WordPress support, and I'm not quite sure about how we're going to name that third one. Hire us for smaller changes. So again, don't worry too much about the terminology there. But it really is that we can handle big WordPress projects. We can help with ongoing support, and you can also hire us for small changes. So that's the gist of laying the stall out in terms of the service offering. And we also, and we certainly didn't do this 6 years ago, a lot longer ago, I did a lot of physical workshops when physical, it makes it sound like I'm wrestling. I just meant it was in a physical space. I had an office over in Newport above the market, big old office, and I could get something like 4 to 6 people in there when I was running workshops for things like blogging. I got out of the habit of that, and when I went to Social Media Marketing World in February this year, which seems a long time ago given how this year has panned out, that was in San Diego. Now I went across there. It was a big old trip, 11 hours, got a long time on the plane, mainly because 4 of our US clients happened to be there speaking. Now I've blogged about this separately, but I knew at the time I was ripe for thinking about what I wanted to be doing with the company and how I wanted to be taking it forward. And I knew I wanted to be getting back into doing the online workshops and the training, because I like doing that. I like explaining stuff to people. It's enjoyable. Something I've always liked to do. As I say, I got out of the habit of running the physical workshops. I'd mulled for years doing things like webinars, but you know, it was kind of, I wasn't sure if people were ready for them. Webinars did seem very much a niche technology, and I wasn't convinced about it. Even as late as December last year, I was thinking again, okay, look, webinars are the way to go. I've got to do that. So yeah, roll forward. I went to San Diego in February. I thought, that's it, Joe. You're definitely going to get back into the webinars. We're going to get back into blogging. We're going to get back into video. A lot of these themes came out from some of the great speakers speakers at Social Media Marketing World, and I do have a little video somewhere when I was at San Diego explaining what I was going to be doing. Now, around that time, COVID was just kicking in. In fact, if the Social Media Marketing World event had been about a week or two later, I think it might have got cancelled, because that was just as when American policy was like the rubber hitting the road. It was suddenly going, okay, what do we need to do here? So I was lucky to get to go. So with COVID and lockdown, I mean, as you guys know, webinars, Zoom, have just gone through the roof. All of a sudden, the business world pretty much, has suddenly become upskilled with using this technology. Now, as I say, we've been using Zoom and similar products for years, especially with our US clients. We don't fly out to speak to those, but that's a niche area. The fact that a lot more people are skilled with Zoom and webinars and events means that it basically put that concept of what I wanted to do, the online training, the engagement with people with video, it put that much more on the front foot. So come lockdown, I started going, right, let's run the webinars. And that process has evolved, that offering has evolved quite a bit now. How many events have I run? It must be about 10 now since lockdown began. We've run quite a few this month. We're running one today. And so that element, which was never present on the old website because we didn't do it, has to be brought out here. And I think it has to be brought out on the homepage because I think it shows expertise. And it also, going back to what I mentioned earlier about the brand values of Glass Mountains in terms of teaching, in terms of explaining, yes, it makes perfect sense that we bring out the knowledge in the webinars on the homepage. So we'll showcase these events on the homepage in the new design. We've got internal conversations about how we actually brand these, because in reality, we've got the WordPress show, which is our free offering online. We also do run occasional premium events, and we've got the program launching in September called the WordPress Academy, WP Power Academy. So that branding might come out on these events here. But for the sake of today's little chat, we're bringing out those events and webinars key onto the homepage, front and center. Oh, and yeah, I mentioned about the free WordPress Q&A group. That's the name of that. Really is the WordPress show. So the branding of these two things will change, but the fact is that the offering of them is now front and center. Here is our free Facebook group and live events. Great, go there. Here is our Power Academy for people who are looking to take their WordPress skills and their skills as a WordPress site owner and a WordPress site forward in a structured, methodical way. Then we get into what the clients say, bring out a lot of that, and we bring out a lot of the blog because since, and I blogged about this the other day as well, since Social Media Marketing World, I've been much more into getting onto the front foot with the blogging. I do like the writing, I do like the explaining. I can't explain why I've not done so in the last couple of years. I think I always knew I wanted to get that content out there, but I wasn't quite sure of the strategy and the tactics and bringing everything together. So a bit like the homepage design, you kind of kick it into the long grass a little bit, and eventually I think you reach a point where you've got to take action. So that's why that comes out a lot more there. So that's where we're at. So when this launches in September, I don't think it'll look radically different to that. Yeah, some of the geezers on there will change, but this is how we're generally going to lay it out. And of course, the mobile experience will reflect that as well. So I hope that gives you an insight into the struggle, and it's a struggle, redesigning a website, especially when you redesign your own, that we've been through discussing the new Glass Mountains website. If you've got any questions, as usual, the WP Show Facebook group is a great place to get in and have a chat about that. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.